sorry. That was unhinged. I'm sorry. Oh my god. No! Not the winter mute walk! No! I can't wait for Yoge's version of him like fucking 300 pounds. The Yoge waddling. No, stop! That's unhinged hating. Oh my god. Aw.
Oh no, shake his hand. You walk by him.
Oh.
All right.
Oh my god, dude. I can't. Dude, I don't know if I can handle this. I just don't know if I can handle this. Oh my god. I just don't know if I can handle this. By the way, Wintermute like lost like 3 debates or 2 or 3 debates in a row to me. Okay, and then I had to ban him from the server because he was like fed posting all fucking day. Okay, about how tanky he was. And he was like doing fucking he was fed posting violence and revolutions. Jesus Christ. Okay, I just got tired of it.
Yeah, hi Destiny.
Hey, what's up?
Oh
So,
no.
I was wondering. Oh, sorry. I was wondering how you think the set of like base manufacturing workers in the United States overlaps with the set of consumers that are buying
No! I hate lefty debates. Why?
the commodities that these base manufacturing workers produce. So how do these two sets overlap,
Dude.
the workers and consumers?
My guess is they overlap probably very broadly, but it probably depends on like the specific,
got
like if you
legs.
break out like different types of consumption, then
Well,
it might
like,
change.
let's say like textiles, clothing, electronics. I would actually disagree.
he's
I would say
nervous.
that they overlap very little because America kind of operates off of finance capital, where the U.S. dollar is the reserve currency. American markets are stable, so the world kind of invests in U.S. markets, and we just sort of do magic with that money. Also R&D, like you say, like top-level manufacturing R&D and that sort of thing. So I would say that most of the workers that do the base manufacturing actually are outsourced and offshore, like say in China or something, right?
Oh, okay. So sorry. So I thought you meant for domestic labor.
No,
But
no,
for
no,
international, I would probably agree. Like I'm super guessing it, but I would probably agree that like the majority of like the people that do base level manufacturing in China are probably not consuming the
Right.
majority of their output. I would probably agree with that. Yeah.
Would you agree that the majority of the consumers in the United States are consuming commodities produced by Chinese workers?
They're consuming commodities produced by Chinese workers. They're also consuming commodities that are manufactured overseas in other countries like Vietnam. A lot of Asian countries are like this. However, they're consuming services that are made from the United States, right? Like, for example, you can have a security program or security service. Like, for example, if you use Windows 10, right? If you use Windows 11, if you use Mac OS, right? If you use even Linux, right? Every single one of these operating systems are here, right? All of them are developed mostly here, right? Like, I'm sure there's going to be some overseas programmers or something like that, but they're all from here, right? They're all from the United States. Everyone uses them, right? Including in China. So, there you go. I'm dying. Wintermute has infected me with twink death. Sorry. My bad, okay. I'm allergic to bullshit. My bad.
I don't know.
Everything's made in China.
I'm sure it's a big chunk.
not
I don't know if
true.
it's a majority, but
Everything is made in China. That's not true. Everything is made in China if you're only considering like common manufactured goods, right? Toys, some computer parts, right? Yeah. Foodshops. Chat was calling this guy the male Foodshops during the live. Okay. Fuck me. That might ring closer than you think. Like a joke that has been in the server since he has been in there before I banned him was that I was him 5 years ago. Okay, I made that meme. I made that meme because it's true. Okay, I did look like. Listen, I was a bit more like Wintermute 5 years ago, like like politics wise, and cringe wise. Okay, and like fucking fashion wise too. Jesus Christ. But yeah, I don't know.
I'm sure it's a big chunk, yeah.
Okay, so I think this is a pretty easy thing to agree on. So labor is a commodity, right? So when, how do you say this? When labor is automated or outsourced, the price of labor decreases, wages stagnate, and wages for base manufacturing jobs have stagnated. The jobs are disappearing, right? So this industry.
I also like people say we look like the same. I mean, to me, we look completely different. But maybe for somebody who doesn't really who generalize Asians, I guess. I don't know, maybe we do look the same. But like at least from my perspective, like I look distinctly different from Wintermute, but whatever.
Industry is kind
Internationally or?
No, in the United States specifically because we outsource it.
Sure, yeah.
Okay. And your argument, well, I've heard your argument to this, which is that higher level knowledge work will eventually come and replace all this base level manufacturing, and that's how the economy grows, right?
Kind of, although in a more qualified conversation, we would have to be more careful, right? Because there's going to be a level of specificity to the training to where it's not strictly replacing it. What really happens is there's going to be some class of worker that's going to be left behind, and then some new class of worker is going to emerge and then take on higher productivity labor, right? Like, so in the wake of NAFTA and everything, that's kind of what we saw was a shift away from more like blue collar, base level manufacturing to like higher educated stuff.
Right.
And on paper, the numbers are like replacing them cleanly, but in actuality, there's a group of workers that are kind of being abandoned by a newer economy, right?
Right.
Sure, yeah.
But would you argue that the group of workers being abandoned is actually quite small because they eventually adapt and they learn the new trade, etc. Like the majority of the United States economy is not based around base level manufacturing anymore. That's the point I'm trying to make.
Yeah, probably, but like if we're having a serious
Where's your
conversation
picture?
about
Where's
it,
your selfie?
like that might not matter that much because like so like gains that you make on consumer purchases, like overall increased access to like cheaper stuff from Walmart might be a thing that marginally improves everybody's life on a small amount, but there might be like a focused group of people that are severely damaged, right? So even if everybody across the country is making small gains, if they look to like Detroit and they're like, oh geez, this place has been like obliterated by the decreased consumption, it, like on a psychological level, that might outweigh an overall like an aggregate gain that shows up on paper, if that makes sense.
Right. Okay. Sorry, can I look at my notes for a second?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, he's losing aura. He's losing aura now, okay? At first when he was walking up, he was farming aura. Now he's losing aura, okay? He's leaking aura. Okay. All right. All right, guys. He's leaking aura. This is a bit rough now. Okay. All right. He's got to look at notes. Okay, he's got to look at notes. Oof. Okay.
I just want to comment on like when I don't know what you were expecting or how much you watch my content when you come on to have this conversation, but when I'm arguing with conservatives or MAGA people, my statements are like pretty, I don't want to say hyperbolic, but they're maybe a little bit one-dimensional when I'm fighting against some of these points. One of the reasons why I hate a lot of the conservative takes on economics so much, though, is because I think that there are really valuable discussions that can happen when it comes to the structure
just a drink.
of the economy.
A martini, shaken, not stirred.
Not everything was made in China, including Foodshops.
Yo, Silver King, thank you so much for the $5. I appreciate that.
But we'd never, ever have those conversations because we're so busy arguing the most hyperbolic things in the world. So what you're talking about right now about like certain workers being displaced by certain types of jobs being exported, certain supply chains being exported, and certain consumers gaining while there's like focused damage on the economy, I think that's a really valuable conversation to have that we don't have. But like when the other side, like what was argued earlier, is saying, well, actually, we can just manufacture every single thing in the United States and it'll be perfect. It's like, okay, well, this is not
No,
like
absolutely not.
yeah.
I
I agree that there, yeah. Sorry.
So I think, no, we should not go back to base level manufacturing. It's like going to the past. The past doesn't exist anymore. That it's harkening back to, I mean, labor was strong then, but it's harkening back to a past that shouldn't exist when it's automated, right? Why would you mine the coal when the robot mines the coal?
Sure.
Okay, so my question for you is, so shareholders constantly need the derivative of profit to be positive, right? It needs delta profit needs to be positive. So there's constant growth in growth, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what happens when the consumers, as top-level knowledge jobs are being automated by large language models, et cetera? You see massive layoffs at all tech companies for software. I work in software, and it's become like 10 times harder to find a job ever since the large language model stuff happened. Okay, so when those jobs become automated, how do you keep those
Is he 6'2"?
the shareholders
Maybe.
happy by keeping the delta profit positive?
I mean, I think right now the answer is just we don't know.
Well, we do know actually.
Wait, this doesn't feel like a debate. Like, was he just looking for for an exchange? I guess so.
It's
Well,
by
But he can't say, oh yeah, I debated Destiny, right? Because this isn't a debate.
well, what we don't know is that all of the jobs are going to be automated. So
Like a
there's something
exchange.
called the lump of labor fallacy, which I'm sure you're familiar with, where people are like, oh my God, we've made like sewing looms. Like, how are we going to have everybody's going to run out of work, or we've created some new electronic thing, new computer thing, new automated thing, and now we think there's going to be no jobs, but like there's always more stuff for people to do.
Right.
I guess the question is,
What will
obviously, when people are talking
emerge,
about
You
AI
can't
and
see Borderlands? Yeah, because it's closed. I'm opening BattleTech.
LLMs and general intelligence and everything, like, are we going to reach a level where we've actually hit some kind of
upper limit.
yeah, I don't want to call it a singularity, but something where like we're actually automating away more than what we can find new
I
work to be able to
absolutely
do.
think that knowledge work and automating knowledge labor is the upper limit. That is there's nothing beyond that. Like, what is the pinnacle of like human expression? It's like doing art, right? And we have art automated. There's like
Sure.
you
Yeah, I don't
there's
know.
like-
There's a saying. I'm very American, and there's a saying. It's like an American can sooner imagine the end of the world than the end of capitalism. So
Absolutely.
I have no idea. I mean, like in a perfect world, we move on to like the free time utopia, where now we only work for 10 hours a week and everybody's happy because the robots are doing everything. In the
Right.
hellscape, I guess there's only a few like warlords that own the robots, and then
Precisely.
we're all screwed. Who knows?
So this is
but I
why
don't know,
we need
yeah.
collective ownership of the
Okay.
automated means of production. We need collective ownership. Before all labor is useless and our strikes mean nothing, we need to seize the automated means of production. Okay, but anyways, so profits need to constantly go up, right? So what did they do? What did they do in 2008? What did they do when every market crashes? They pump the credit market by giving out loans that they should not be giving out, risky loans, subprime mortgages. They pump the credit market, and eventually, for a short time, the profits increase, right? Like you said earlier with the other guy, for a short time, the economy is kind of stimulated, but eventually those loans are going to default, right? You cannot pump the credit market forever. There's no infinite fake money unless you're relying, I know you hate this, but unless you're relying on, the petrodollar having a monopoly on resources and then coercing other countries to do manufacturing. Like, you cannot maintain this growth forever. Eventually, markets will default. Banks will default, loans will default, and the market will crash, as it did in 2008.
So I mean, like, this is a very this is kind of like a Marxist idea. I think the idea that
Well, I mean, he is a Marxist. He's a Marxist-Leninist. More specifically, Wintermute is a Stalinist.
the rate of profits to fall to zero, basically. Like, again, this, like, it hasn't been observed yet, but like, is it possible that this could happen? Maybe.
It happened in 2008.
Well, there's this underlying assumption that I can't speak to any depth of knowledge to this because I just don't know enough. But like, one thing that's kind of like underlying the assumption that you're making, and maybe there's more truth than I'm willing to give credit for, is this idea that a lot of the growth that we've seen in the world economy has just been artificially done by basically
IMF
printing
and-
money and yeah, this kind of inflationary thing.
Fractional
Versus the
reserve
counter
spending.
argument would be, well, no, there actually is a lot more. There's more participants in the global economy now. Among Africa, among China, India, there are actually more people, and there's more value that's actually being added to the economy, and that represents an increase, in price. I'll utter the meaningless statement.
Why are there market crashes if all of this productivity is real? It's not backed by debt. If it's real, why?
Market crashes happen because sometimes it's either like actual malice. Like, for example, if you're selling toxic assets that don't actually mean anything, if you're selling overpromised assets that are essentially just scams, then yeah, like, you are prepping, you're basically doing something malicious to the point where you're prepping the entire market for a crash, right? I think that's what happened in 2008, right? What people were selling were overpromised house 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 shares, right? House related shares. Fuck me. The U.S. housing market was involved widespread risky lending practices, the complex packaging of these mortgages into insecure investments. Yes. and deregulation that allowed for high-risk financial activities. Yeah, basically gambling, like gambling with houses, sure. The financial system experienced a period of loose credit and low interest rates, leading to inflated home prices and the housing market boom. Banks issued many high-risk mortgages, known as subprime mortgages, to borrowers with poor credit histories. These often featured ARMs, adjustable rate mortgages with low initial teaser rates that reset to much higher rates later. I mean, I just Googled it, but like, a good way to avoid market crashes and market defaulting. Defaulting means that you're not meeting the financial goals of a given period of time. Or like, for example, if a government defaults, they're not meeting the financial goals for that period of time. If every single place if every single company defaults, if the economy defaults in totality, that's a recession because every single company, a bigger company, like a bunch of bigger companies, start to default, and then all the companies that depend on these bigger companies also start to default. So it's a cascading failure effect where a bunch of companies just start to default. Like everywhere, the government then begins to, like, yeah, that's how a recession happens. Um, how to prevent this is to diversify um, the market. Uh, yeah, I think to get stuff from different companies. Yeah, I don't know. I honestly no, I'm not sorry. I'm not an economist. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm not an economist. Okay, but for certainly Wintermute is not an economist either. Okay, I don't think. By the way, I don't think a default like the market defaulting is not like in inevitability, right? A recession is not guaranteed to happen. Um, if enough things are managed well, with enough rules and regulation, right?
Why does a market crash every 30
Well, there
years
can
or
be
so?
market crashes even when there's real value being created, right? Like that can happen.
Well, I mean, I feel like the easiest way to analyze, I mean,
I feel like when I'm looking at like, it's funny because sometimes people look at
It's like somebody sneaking in fentanyl into heroin. Whoa, stop. It's like someone sneaking in fentanyl with heroin, right? That's another example that you can go to. Heroin is the premium product. Fentanyl is the cheaper crap that is a total fucking waste and will kill you. So yeah.
market crashes and they'll say like, oh, like this
Call non-fun? Oh, maybe. I mean, if he's willing to call in, yeah, I'd be willing to ask some questions.
is an example that nothing in our economy is real or this is all fake because of this boom bust cycle. And it's
Sorry,
like,
I
maybe that's
gotta-
true, but like if we take just like, take a deep breath and
Let me
take a
just
macro step
reduce
back and then like
reduce
look at the
volume.
world.
Okay, sorry.
Like, do we actually feel that way? Like, do we have, you know, like is a 5090 graphics card really the same as like a 1080, or are the treatments for cancer patients
well, I mean,
today
I feel
the
like
same as they were like
it's
30
definitely
years
tapering
ago?
off.
Or
There's definitely a.
do you feel like the progress of technology is tapering off right now?
I absolutely believe the progress.
No way.
I think the progress of technology has tapered off as soon as we reached large language models, and maybe we hit a limit with transformer models, right? Like maybe they just can't
Like
they just can't
Optimus Prime?
model like large enough context, whatever, right? But you know, once you hit knowledge work, what is beyond that? Like,
I mean, I guess we'll see, but
the
there's still a lot of unsolved
music
problems. But
play?
I was
I
just
can't.
not necessarily referring to the LLM thing, but like I'm just saying that
Sorry.
it seems like we've been growing in real ways. Like technologies are improving, like manufacturing is improving, like healthcare services are improving. Like there's been like real gains made in technologies across
No,
tons of
absolutely.
sectors.
I would
yeah.
concede that,
So
absolutely.
like if we were at some point in the future where we had started to have like these crazy boom bust, and I'm like, it kind of feels like everything's the same as it was 20 years ago. You know what's going on? Then maybe I'd be like, oh, is this all
Just
like
a drink.
fake?
A martini, shaken, not stirred.
I demand sad music.
Yo, Silver King, thanks so much for $2, but $2 is not enough to convince me. Thank you, though.
But I feel like we're not there yet. But this is like a really deep, like fundamental macro econ finance question that I'm just probably not equipped to dive into as much. But yeah.
Final thoughts there, Alex.
Yeah, go
Oh,
for it.
sorry. Let me take a look at my.
Do you have any
notes.
final
Sorry.
thoughts?
Yeah, sorry. So yeah, I just wanted to say, right, like I feel like Trump is definitely doing a Weimar Republic type answer to the to the collapse of the economy. It's fascism. I mean, outright, it's the merger of corporate and state power. With Musk and government, all these big tech companies merging. It's state power as an arm of corporate power in order to and maintain monopolies, brutalize workers, brutalize unions, and massive militarization to conquer external markets. To redivide, all the imperial reserves like Ukraine, etc. He nationalized Intel. Like, it's disgusting stuff. I agree with you on that. But I think that he's sort of the accelerationist answer, whereas liberals are trying to right a sinking ship that's sinking, and it's going to sink.
Yeah, I just don't know how good we are predicting macro trends. Okay. Like, I think even way back in Marx's time, he thought that the entire world would slowly be shifting to a socialist model. Lenin thought that all of Europe...
And it did.
Well, no.
The USSR mode of production was absolutely socialist.
I mean, maybe, but it also, like, it failed.
Yeah, but it also didn't work. Right? The command economy was not able to keep up with the demands of the public. They were not able, for example, they were not able to raise the price of common products, which is why they sold out before the early hours in the morning. People lined up in order to buy products as fast as possible, so people couldn't even get common commodities because they were so cheap, because people bought them in hordes. So that is what happens when you have a command economy. You can't set prices fast enough, as effective as the storage self-setting prices, like for supply and demand, right? Which is why the command economy was not able to deal with drastic changes like plagues or weather changes or a famine, right? Yeah, and whatever food distribution idea the USSR had was completely bonkers. And ultimately a lot of people died. But hey, wait, oh. Oh my god, non-found, hello. Are you a neoliberal? Sorry, I can't hear you. Hold on. I can't hear you. Listen, I'm sure. Okay, can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Paste. Hey. Yeah. So what's up?
I have no clue. Someone came into my chat and said call Foodshops. She has an urgent economics question.
Oh yeah, sure. What caused the 2008 recession in a brief, concise way to put it?
Oh my god. Wait, is that actually your okay.
It's like toxic. It's like toxic packages being sold and overpromised, right?
It's very complicated, and economists disagree, and I'm not smart enough to resolve their disagreements. So, but yes, part of it. So the financial crisis part of it was that, or at least part of the financial crisis part of it was, yes, that banks were essentially giving out subprime loans to people, people who really should not have qualified for a mortgage, got a mortgage. Many of them got like variable rate mortgages, meaning if interest rates went up, the rate that they had to pay in their mortgage went up. And that essentially, that meant eventually at one point when rates went up, people defaulted on their loans. And there had been a bunch of sort of secondary assets tied to these loans. There were banks that, like investment banks that essentially, I forget the fucking name for these, that would like package these loans together and sell them as a bond. So there were a lot of people sort of holding assets that were tied to the value of these loans, and it turned out the value of these loans were shit. And the price of it, eventually when people defaulted on the loans, these assets went to shit, and a lot of banks had issues. Now there are the issue with saying what caused the recession is that there are sort of economists who will argue that the underlying cause was broader, and it was more like the recession that caused the financial crisis than the financial crisis that caused the recession. So if you just look at like how much unemployment increased in like the immediate aftermath of sort of the housing bubble bursting and like housing construction stalling, unemployment did not increase that much. There simply just weren't not that many jobs in housing. The sort of broader underlying issue was that the Federal Reserve didn't essentially didn't do enough stimulus, and their monetary policy was too contractionary.
Okay, stop.
Which just
I give up on understanding it. Okay, I'm just gonna accept that I don't I no longer give a fuck. Okay, wait, hold on. I have another question. So
okay, sure.
the market defaulting is when they don't meet like the financial goals of like that period, right? Like a company or a company, like what does defaulting mean? Brief explanation, okay? Don't say economists are arguing over the
No, don't worry.
definitions of
Yeah, don't worry.
defaulting.
No,
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
I'm sure there's some people who argue about it, but defaulting just means that like you can't pay your debt. Basically, it just means like you have a mortgage,
Okay, stop right
but
there.
you can't pay it.
Don't give any more explanations. Okay.
Yeah.
How do you prevent the economy from defaulting? Like from people from defaulting, I guess.
So
Outside
it's
of
going to
culture-
depend on
outside
what.
of culture changes and using your
Right,
credit
it's
card
good-
too much. Yeah.
It's going to depend on what you sort of view as the problem or what caused the issue of people defaulting. So some people, and I think Destiny said this in the debate because I just watched him talk to these people too. He said like, regulation was an issue. So maybe we're going to say we can just regulate banks and make sure they don't give out loans to people who are super unqualified. You can also just do a, if you believe, oh boy, how do I make this less nerdy? Essentially, you can, okay, think about it like obviously debt is in nominal terms, like, your debt is just in regular dollars. It's not typically inflation adjusted. So, and obviously, you need income to pay off your debt. So if you have a situation where people's nominal income falls, okay, you know what like GDP is, right? Just
Not really.
probably. Okay. Oh my
Wait,
god.
hold on,
Okay.
hold on.
GDP.
No. I think I know what you mean though. Are you saying that people cannot earn enough money to pay off the debt that is accumulating? Like basically it's a spiral.
Basically.
Right? Okay, you kept just said that. Wait,
Basically, yeah.
Okay, like payday loans, right? Is that what you're talking about? Like maybe like high interest rate payday loans?
No, it's not necessarily. It's not necessarily just payday loans. It's just that any loan is in nominal dollars.
No, I'm
so
talking about an example, right? Talking about an example.
That would be a particularly. So the issue of payday loans is those are going to be, people are going to default in payday loans for.
It's like a white man trying to compete with a black man with warrior jeans, right? Like on a marathon race.
I have no clue what the fuck that means.
Okay, I get it. No, I get it. Okay, let me think. Okay, how do you prevent the economy? Okay, sorry. I already asked that. Fuck me. Okay, never mind. I feel like
it's called nominal GDP level targeting. Okay, that's my answer.
Right. That sounds gay. Hold on. Okay. Cool. I hate the economy. I think the economy is fake shit. Okay, listen. This is just astrology for nerds. Okay, like this is just astrology for mathematicians. Okay, like that's what the economy is. Okay, like why do people even pretend to know like how the economy works? Like why can't everybody just be honest and say that the economy is just a bunch of bullshit that does not make any sense, and people shouldn't predict how it works because it's all just male astrology. Like what?
Well, I mean, you don't have to even predict how, or like obviously not all economics is strictly predictive. And first of all, I'm being honest. I'm telling you, I don't know what causes recessions. I don't know what caused 2008. But like one thing, for example, like one thing that Destiny gets wrong. Okay, or he doesn't really get it wrong. He just doesn't mention it. In all these debates or whatever, they talk about trade and they talk about manufacturing. Well, there's been a lot of research into essentially, how much trade just historically has affected manufacturing employment. And, this is all just looking at past data. This is not trying to be predictive, although you can obviously get sort of predictive implications from it. Like look at the data. It's like, the highest estimates essentially, which I think the highest estimate you're going to get is essentially, it's from a paper. Don't worry about it. Arthur Doran Hansen, 2013.
Jesse, what are you talking about?
Don't worry
like, what
about
the fuck
but
are you talking
they're like,
about?
don't worry, they're like these manufacturing jobs or whatever. Essentially, like 25% of the decline in manufacturing jobs was due to import competition from China. But I think better data essentially shows that like really only 16% of the decline in manufacturing is attributable to trade, and the rest of it's just due to automation. Like we just automated a lot of these jobs, and it wasn't due to trade.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna pretend I knew what you just talked about. Okay, I appreciate it.
All you have to know, okay, tariffs are not going to bring the manufacturing jobs back because, well, for a lot of reasons, but because trade didn't destroy manufacturing in the first place. Okay, it was automation. We just automated these jobs. Robots did them. It wasn't China that took them. It was the robots.
Well, I mean, okay, is it correct that they're not gonna come back just mainly because we're like just phasing out the manufacturing economy, right? Like
Um, well, we're phasing out.
we find that it's more profitable in general to import products, import parts from other countries, and then build them here, right? And use these
Mhm.
products, even in the digital sense, to manufacture services, right? Like services like antivirus software, cybersecurity software, operating systems that everybody else around the world uses, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's obviously, part of it. So it kind of is. If you look at just actual manufacturing production, I think Destiny even did mention this. It was actually going up all the way until 2008. So despite the fact that like sort of as like a share of our economy, we did start devoting more resources to the service sector and to software and to tech and entrepreneurship and stuff like that. We were still making more and more stuff here up until 2008. It was basically stagnated since then. But yeah, countries specialize in what they're good at essentially, and the U.S. is a very knowledge-based economy. We have a lot of high-skilled workers with a lot of knowledge, so it makes sense for us to specialize in that industry, while
Yeah,
other countries
which is
specialize
why
in
we're
the
fat as well,
labor-intensive.
right? Which is why we're fat, because we're sitting on our asses and we're programming all day. But meanwhile, they got
Yeah.
manufacturing jobs, so they're on their asses all day trying to make steel beams or some shit, right? Yeah.
Well, yes, but
It's kind of like suffering from
This is
success.
solved by Ozempic.
Oh. Well, I mean, that's also part of the service economy, right? Because if you think about it,
Yeah.
the richer a company, Ozempic is a luxury solution to a luxury problem, right? Because
See, yeah, exactly. Now you're getting it. Hell yeah.
because as the economy, wait, hold on, is there really any other service economy? I feel like the United States is the only service economy, right? Like majority service economy, mostly service economy.
No, I mean, if you look at like almost any advanced economy, they're going to be majority in service sector. I don't know. So I think about 90% of U.S. employment is in the service sector. I don't know if it's as high in even like European countries, but
really 90%? It's that high?
yeah, it's like 2% in agriculture and 3% in, or sorry, 8% in manufacturing.
Jesus Christ! Okay, so like these dumb motherfuckers want like 90% of the country to return back to manufacturing, which is like what, they want to convert like 40% of that 90% to back to manufacturing? How is that even
None of
possible?
people, yeah, I mean, none of these people know exactly what they want.
Oh yeah, I googled, and
yeah,
it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy, like how much manufacturing jobs are being lost these days.
This is
hold on.
the dankest dungeon.
Velvet, thank you so much for the 1 gifted sub. On Kick, I appreciate it, buddy. But one thing that I found out is that there has been 74,000 net loss in manufacturing jobs ever since the beginning of the Trump presidency in 2025. That is insane to me. That is crazy to me.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's
because of the tariffs, right, and stuff. But it's crazy to me how
yeah.
on the apparently on the White House website, they are claiming that 9,000 manufacturing jobs were created, or 10,000. That could be true, but there's a net loss of much.
Yeah, it's a
more,
net. Yeah,
right?
yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's what you see. Historically, is because manufacturers rely on imported materials. Like over half of the imports to the U.S. are not final goods; they're intermediate goods. They're goods that businesses use to make other products. Now, some of those are for service sector stuff as well. But a lot of manufacturers rely on imported steel. They rely on imported robots that make their products and stuff. So yeah, obviously, if you tear off a bunch of shit, you're gonna hurt them as well, and that's what we've seen historically, as well as right now as
Wait,
well.
hold on.
I don't know if there's
non-font. What's your background? Like, what do you do? You don't have to say
I
if you're not comfortable. Okay.
I don't have much of a background to explain. I don't know.
That was just curiosity. It's just purely curiosity because you seem really passionate about the economics part.
I'm passionate about it. I don't have a formal education in economics. I will go to college to get an economics degree, but I'm at my community college right now, just getting an associate's degree. I don't do anything crazy. So
yeah, I mean, to be fair, like I do appreciate it when you say that you don't know about some things. So that's pretty. I mean, like that's the sign of an expert to me. When somebody says that they don't know anything about like a specific topic in the field that they specialize in, to me that's like a sign of honesty and integrity, right? So I do appreciate that at the very least. Yeah.
Yeah, now you just need to tell Destiny to do that. Okay, tell him to not say the dumb shit about the natural rate of unemployment. All right.
You should DM him. His is like he adds people like crazy. Like he, like whenever you send someone, like you can slip into his DMs quite easily.
I had him at it at one point. He on at me. I'm kind of assuming I didn't talk to him much, so
He got
he
mad
probably
at
just
you?
reads it. No, I don't think he got mad at. He might have for all I know, but I DM'd him like twice. He might have just reached the Discord friend limit, and obviously did not chat with him enough to justify being Discord friends. But it could have just been that, or it could have been mad at something.
I'll make you ambush him. Okay, next time he's in here, if he's ever in here again. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
If you want to let me ambush him about the natural rate of unemployment, okay, that'd be goated.
Okay.
But yeah.
All right. I'll talk to you later. Okay. Bye.
Sure. Wait, one last thing. Have you heard of the Shrimp Welfare Project? Okay.
No. What is that?
Oh my God. Hell yeah. You're about to be shrimp filled. Okay. Basically, shrimp are like the most farmed animal on Earth. Okay. We have a bunch of fucking shrimp in these farms. It's like in the hundreds of billions, some like 440 billion shrimp. It's over that by now, per year. All right. And typically they're killed in horrible ways. Okay. They're they're buried alive and iced and left to suffocate and freeze to death over the span.
Yeah, but they're shrimp.
I'll get to it. Don't worry. Over the span of 20 minutes, okay, horrible, painful way for them to die, stressful way for them to die. Okay. And yes, they're shrimp, okay. And you know what the evidence says about shrimp and how much they feel pain? Okay, it says they probably do. All right, we observe that shrimp, when they're wounded, will tend to the wounds. They'll, rub them and stuff. But when we give them painkillers, they don't do that as much. They don't delay feeding, for example, like when you give them painkillers. We can see that shrimp like make trade-offs between essentially how much pain they're willing to accept to get some type of reward. And like individual shrimp will have different individual like preferences for how much pain they're willing to accept to get different rewards. So, that's all evidence of them having some amount of sentience, some amount of ability to feel pain.
Oh my God. Okay. What is the economics point from this though? Like, because I know you're a vegan, so you're like slipping into your vegan propaganda. Yeah. What is
well,
I
don't think you have to be. The economic connection, I guess. A single dollar helps about 1,400 shrimp per year for about 10 years. So it's 14,000 shrimp.
Oh my God. Okay.
At the margin, okay, margin, economic term, margin, very high, very good use of your dollar. It's goated.
Thank you. Okay. All right. I'm sure everyone knows now. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Hell yeah.
All right. Bye.
Well, appreciate you.
All right. I appreciate
having me on.
Thanks. Okay.
Yep.
Goodbye.
See you later.
Bye.
Okay. Appreciate it.
Okay. I thought he wasn't going to click leave. That was funny as fuck. Non-fun actually convinced me to almost eliminate shrimp from my diet. It's been months. Jesus Christ. That was funny. I thought he was going to go into an economics tangent. It was just about shrimp. Oh my God. Okay, sorry.
Hardcore compared to, like the capitalist mode of production, right?
No, absolutely not. They competed fiercely for 70 years, and then Gorbachev came in and liberalized and opened the economy to Western pillagers, and then they installed Yeltsin.
No, Wintermute, why?
A fucking drunk, and then they installed Yeltsin, a fucking drunk, who sold the country out, privatized everything, sold it to 3 oligarchs.
Yeltsin was right after the collapse, right?
Yeltsin was the cause of the collapse. Gorbachev installed Yeltsin, and then Yeltsin, raised the Russian Federation flag, privatized all industry.
Yeah, but are you saying that like I'm sorry, just Gorbachev was like right prior to the collapse, right?
Gorbachev was a harbinger.
Are we saying that like wasn't the reason why Gorbachev was installing kind of like more open market stuff was because of the current faltering of the Soviet Union's economy?
The Brezhnev era in the 1970s did hit a sort of plateau, right?
The problem is that whenever Wintermute brings up like Eastern European history, or he's talking about anything related to Russia or the history of the USSR, I find out that like he's leaving out so many details. Because whenever I look deeper into into whatever Wintermute is talking about, he hides the atrocities. Like he moves on from like the atrocities, and he just dismisses them or downplays them. Like for example, he talks about the fucking the Kosovo Liberation Army, right? The KLA, and how like evil they are, right? And how NATO helped establish and train the PLA, and how the CIA had a hand in training them or whatever, right? And he talks about how evil they are. But meanwhile, the other side, right? I think it's the Serbs, who destroyed over 400 mosques, burned them all down, killed a bunch of people. Like he just happens to not mention that part. So when he's like swarming you with a bunch of like pro-Tinky communist facts, he selectively leaves out a bunch of like atrocities. And it's just like, I don't know. I just don't trust anything face value from whatever Wintermute says ever since that. But
But the Brezhnev
isn't it what every debater do? No. People who argue in bad faith do that, which he does. This is what Wintermute, he argues in bad faith.
era in the in the late 1960s and early 70s was on a massive path of growth.
How it seems like when I look at one of the best arguments I feel in favor of like the capitalist mode of production is, despite like looking at Trump trying to do the damage it can now, it seems pretty robust. I feel like universally, globally, the capitalist mode of production is pretty robust. I feel like the socialist mode of production is not as robust.
I think that once China gains enough surplus capital to be free of the United States for oil, via deals with Russia, and food via deals with Africa and the Belt and Road program, I think that manufacturing in China is going to become far more expensive, and I think that's an issue.
Okay, we'll see. Okay, cool. I appreciate it.
All right, Alex, thank you so much. All right, and we are going to go straight.
To give some credit to Wintermute, he is actually like, he's crazier than the average Tinky in the sense that his ideas are much more extreme and he's way more mask off. However, I would say that his overall demeanor is less crazy because he is able to like debate some of these things like way more than other people. Like he's able to present Tinky ideas in a way more palatable way, in some senses at the very least. But his ideas are definitely crazy. Like he does believe in people getting the wall, and he does believe like fucking Serbian propaganda and how horrible and terrible Albanians are, right? But yeah, why is Destiny coddling this Tinky? To be fair, it's been a long time since Destiny has had any kind of lefty debate ever. If you don't count pro-Palestinian stuff. I mean, I won't complain about like the very occasional
Truly,
debate.
this is the dankest dungeon.
Yo, Akimoy, Masaki, sleeping buddy. Thank you so much for the 5 gifted subs, buddy, on Kick. I appreciate that. He knew that if he went hard on the Tinky memes at the beginning, Destiny would have kicked him out ASAP, so he had to sneak it in. Sure, yeah, but sure.
In to our next debater, Nathaniel Bruffett, you're up. Nathaniel Bruffett is back with us. He joined us in Houston, and he's back for more. We have a limited amount of time, so go straight for the jugular there.
Jesus.
All right.
Word choice, please.
All right.
Oh my
what's up,
God.
Disney? So there is multiple anti-Trump claims that you made in your Owen Schroyer debate that I want to debate you on. Now,
Okay.
for all of these claims, I want a charitable interpretation. So interrupt me if you think I'm not being charitable. All right. So the first.
Wait, did you DM me recently about this?
Wait, what?
Did you DM me recently about this?
I did not. No.
Okay,
I didn't
never
DM
mind,
you.
all right.
Okay. So.
Guys, please like the stream, okay? There's only 33 likes and there's like 150 concurrent. Please like the stream. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Go ahead.
The first claim, I'm pretty sure you were being hyperbolic, but just to be clear, this might make you mad. Just to be clear,
Whoa.
Don't worry,
Just
I'm
to be
used to
clear.
it.
just to be clear, if you mean this claim literally,
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
it's 100% false. But I'm assuming it's hyperbole. So exact word for word, you said Trump takes absolutely no accountability for any of his actions in Owen Schroyer. So I'll just assume that's hyperbole and maybe move on to the next one.
I mean, I would say like 99%, but it's
Already
going to
liked.
depend on how you define accountability, I guess.
Okay, that's fine. If you say 99% though, notice how if we take your claim literally, it's not gonna translate to 99%. That would be, you used a universal quantifier. You said
Sure,
for
but
any of his
humans, when they
actions.
speak, every time they say always or never, they don't really usually mean 100% or 0%, right?
Yeah, that's fine. That's why I want to be charitable. So it doesn't seem like we disagree there.
Okay.
All right. So the next claim would be, yeah, it's crazy that I don't know. Well, I want to be charitable. But, okay. So you said,
Oh, to be very fair, I think another reason why Destiny wants to go easier on some of these people is because they are like, they paid to be on stage, right? Like they paid, like I don't know, like $45, $50. It's so cheap. Like, to me, this is better than sports, okay? And it's just like so much cheaper, right? I don't know, but
exact words. When you
It's like
said he,
$50,
you were talking about
$60.
Trump, but I'm not going to replace that. So you said he wasn't able to pass any legislation. He wasn't able to do anything about the ACA. So like I think maybe like a really charitable interpretation would be that he wasn't able to pass any legislation that did anything about the ACA.
So for legislative landmarks, I know a big thing they wanted to do was the Infrastructure Act. They weren't able to do it. His legislative accomplishments were pretty minor. He had the tax cuts would have been the big one. I think they had like the First Step Act for prison stuff, which was minor, and I think they ended up defunding a lot of that anyway. And then for the ACA, the big goal when Republicans came was to repeal and replace it. But I think all they were able to do was get the like the tax penalty zeroed out or something.
Okay,
Yeah.
but notice how the claim wasn't, Trump wasn't able to fully repeal and replace the ACA. The claim was Trump wasn't able to do anything about the ACA. So do you
Why?
want to double down on that, or do you want to say that what you meant was something like about, like when you say do anything, what you meant there was do anything
I'll
about
say what I just said is what I was implying, yeah.
Okay, so all right, so you don't think that, well, just to be clear, do you think he was able to do anything as far as...
I think his presidency was a legislative failure, was an utter legislative failure, and I think they didn't accomplish their goals with the ACA.
They didn't accomplish, okay, so the claim that they didn't accomplish their goals, like that's fine.
Sure.
But I just want to make sure that we don't disagree on the claim that Trump wasn't able to do anything about the ACA, because he did do something about the ACA.
He did indeed do something about it, yes.
He did do, okay, all right. So if he did do something about it, and like I just feel like a lot of people when they listen to the debate, I think it might be a little unfair what you did to Trump. So it's a new claim I'm making. The thing is that I think most people, or maybe not most people, but definitely a lot of people that listen to the debate, if they hear you say something like he wasn't able to pass any legislation, he wasn't able to do anything about the ACA, I'm worried that if I'm talking to someone like that, they're going to tell me like, oh yeah, Destiny told me that Trump wasn't able to do anything about the ACA, and they have no idea about the individual mandate thing or anything.
Sure, I mean, I think there's arguments to be had that there's a better back and forth there, but I think that MAGA's largely detached themselves from reality, so most of these debates just end up being like at the high.
One of the significant campaign promises Donald Trump made during the course of the 2016 presidential campaign was to repeal and replace the Affordable Care Act, which so far to this day has not been repealed and replaced, okay? The only reason he hates it is because it's Obamacare, okay? The Obama is too much, okay, for him. Velvet, thank you so much for the 50 kick points. I don't know what that means, but thanks for that. Thank you. It looks fancy on the fucking embed, though.
Yes, most.
Foodshops, would you ever do an IRL meetup or debate in the future? Yeah, maybe one day when I become big enough. But like, as far as I'm concerned, I'm nowhere near the size that Destiny is, or the clout that would warrant like an IRL, IRL confrontation of any kind. I don't know. It's just not possible.
like
I
macro
guess.
level claims back and forth. I think if somebody wants to have like an in-depth conversation about
Bomb,
legislation
yeah.
that Trump has or hasn't passed, I think that'd be a lot more exciting to have. But Owen Schroyer wasn't prepared to discuss literally anything in depth, so probably a decent amount of my statements are going to be a bit more hyperbolic. But I think that like the spirit of what I'm getting across, like, oh, you guys failed on the ACA, you didn't do anything about the ACA, right? Like, no conservative's going to come back and be like, well, actually, we got the penalty for that reduced to zero, because they know it was a massive failure to not repeal it. They ran on it. They talked about it for like 8 years, and then when McCain voted no, it was an actual gasp on the floor when everybody was like, oh God, like they messed that up. So I mean, like, yeah, I mean, like this, like in a vacuum, this claim is going to be more narrow. But like the conversation I just had with the last guy about like certain sectors of the economy being damaged and certain sectors of the economy doing better, like I think that'd be a better conversation to have than arguing whether or not you could transition the entire economy to a manufacturing economy. But it seems like right now the right is largely incapable of having those types of conversations.
Okay. Do you think that we would maybe disagree that you were?
Okay,
Well,
someone
I mean,
the like button,
okay,
thank
that's
you.
fair enough. So another claim you made is that Trump was kind of hoping Mike Pence got killed on January 6th. You use the word kind of and like trying to be charitable and whatnot, but I mean, even if so I know you don't like this. If you don't like it, just deliver the argument for why it's bad. Okay, don't just. But if we do an internal critique, okay, on your view or whatever, even taking a Trump critic perspective, I don't think it would be good for Trump if Mike Pence got killed either way. I don't know if that's really, you can not want someone to be killed and still pressure them to do something that's
Yeah,
compatible.
more technically you could say that, yeah.
So do you think it's fair to say that, this person over
Trump
here...
didn't want Mike Pence to be killed. Trump wanted Pence to feel like Trump could have had him killed to pressure him to act in a way that he wanted. When it came time to count the votes, I guess you could say that, yeah.
Yeah, but isn't it like a little bit like maybe unfair to say like, oh, this person over here, like Bob or Trump or whatever, you're claiming that someone kind of you're especially before he was, getting elected, right? You're saying that this person kind of wanted this other person to get killed. And if that's not true, like some people might interpret that claim literally. It's just...
Bro, okay. I hate this autistic argument, dude. I actually hate this autistic argument. Dude, why are you giving so much charitability to Trump is my question. Why is your standard so fucking different? Why is your standards for Trump to interpret him in the most nuanced, most charitable possible, plausible deniability light? But then when you interpret the left, I bet this guy would say like, oh, these are radical terrorists. These are not the same standards. Again, this is double standards poisoning, right? This is the double standards poisoning that I've always been talking about, right? Like this guy's poisoned to the core on double standards. Yeah. Like to me, we don't live in the same double standards world. And to people like this, they have so much cognitive dissonance. It's so frustrating. It's so frustrating how much cognitive dissonance they have. It's insane. It's insane to me how much cognitive dissonance they have. I just think it's so wild to hear this. Like you give him so much charitability. Like this is an unfathomable amount of charitability, right?
kind of like my point. I don't know.
I
You did say
mean, like,
kind
there's a
of,
world,
so-
like, the issue is that, like, there's two huge, very interesting things going on. So one is that, like, there's a back and forth debate with a very bombastic guy who I don't think was capable of critically engaging almost anything, number one, right? So a subset of that is that,
Well,
like,
actually,
it's
they're
hard
not
for me to
Canadian
even get
geese,
out a
they're
full point
called
without him shouting and
Canada
interrupting me.
geese. Oh
But then
my
number two,
God.
like, I feel like the same people that would take, like, I feel like the majority of the people listening are understanding the implication of what I'm saying, I think. Like, I think that if you were to ask anybody, like, do you think that it would help Trump if Pence were to actually die? They would probably say, oh, that probably wouldn't help him. But if you were to ask the majority of people, like, what would you expect somebody to do when somebody's watching a bunch of people outside the Capitol building saying, hang Mike Pence, and he does nothing? I think a lot of people are like, ooh, maybe he wants him to die. But, like, I don't think anybody would correct and say, no, it's not that he wants him to die, it's that he wants him to be afraid of dying. And it's like, yeah, okay, yeah, like, that's technically true, I guess. But it's like, I feel like this is like almost a distinction without a difference. Like, on a strictly, like, if we were parsing language for, like, syntax and logic, I think maybe the one statement is more accurate than the other. But overall, especially with a president who is, like, prone to making hyperbolic statements with literally every single time he talks, so much so that there are, like, turns of phrase we're not taking him literally but seriously. I think I'm communicating more or less what I need to, yeah.
Okay. All right, sweet. So with January 6th, I think there's a lot of good things
You're
that
all talking
happened.
about even your
after.
bathroom or sleep.
Just making descriptive, like, so our Capitol building, the security got tighter. We had, what was it? I don't remember. Sorry, I'm losing my train of thought.
No, you're good.
But yeah, so
Common talking point is that the ECA got strengthened, the law. I don't know if you're going to bring that up. But
the ACA,
the ECA, the Electoral Count Act, they added a couple lines.
Yeah, something about the Electoral Count Act was like a bill, and in the bill we had a bunch of things that were good. I can pull up my notes for it, but there can be an efficacy problem.
Please don't pull out any notes,
when
please.
like a president does something. So like someone could be anti-abortion but still vote for someone that's pro-abortion because the pro-abortion guy is just so bad that he ends up actually strengthening the anti-abortion stuff. Like he could end up like just being incompetent or something. And so if Trump is trying to do something, it could result in a situation where it unintentionally sort of strengthens the democracy process or something.
That's you're playing with fire there, right?
Yeah. Well, no, I agree with that. I think I agree with the point you're making. But so I'm just I want to be razor focused on the actual claim though, because if someone were to make the claim that, this event like weakened our democracy, I don't know if that's.
Well, I think it weakened the democracy by making it, one, the attack itself, I think kind of weakens it, and then two, I think that when a thing happens, I think it enters like a probability assessment for future action. Like it seems more probable based on how people respond to it. And I think that now that's like kind of something that's more in the air. So I think there's a lot of like fallout from that that's really bad too. Like I would rather just go back to that never having happened than the result of that having happened.
Yeah, if Justin Bieber gets attacked, he's going to increase the security, right? So that attack might actually decrease his likelihood to get attacked in the future or something.
Yeah, but what if he was just never attacked? Wouldn't that be good?
That would be better. But if we're razor focused on the claim of whether the attack weakened or lowered his likelihood of being attacked in the future, it's going to be.
Yeah, I understand, but there are some things that can probably be like so bad that you probably wouldn't want that to happen ever, right? Like you could strengthen your child's defense against a rapist by saying about his rapey uncle that won't kill him, but it's like Jesus Christ, I wouldn't want hey, now you'll be more careful next time. Like that's just like an insane to say that the president tries to coup the government and then fails. At least we have a few more guards in there. I think that's I think that.
I mean, technically being scammed means you're gonna hire a fucking financial advisor or something, right? Let's just say you got let's just say you got the back end of a business deal and you got something way less than what the other person got, right? So it's not an equivalent business deal. You would have never took it if you were just smarter about it, right? Would you and then now you hire a financial advisor. Now the financial advisor, you've learned from your mistakes, you've hired a financial advisor, but you've lost like $5 million in the process, right? Just so that you can have prevention in the future. You can't just say oh well, wasn't the original scam worth it? Because now you get to be smarter with your money. I think that's really silly. I think that's a really silly thing. Yeah, I'm a little bit flabbergasted. Would you prefer to lose $5 million so then you can learn the lesson? I guess. Okay. If you say so, all right. Isn't that how the flow of time works? Time flows in one direction.
The damage there is too great.
I guess.
To say that scar tissue is more durable than normal skin when it comes to penetrative stuff, but it's less flexible and doesn't do the same job that skin does. So I don't know. I would reject that. I think even a more focused claim there is not accurate. I would say that it did damage to the United States. I don't think a few more security guards or a couple lines in the ECA is better than just having a country where we've never tried to coup the government that openly like that before.
Final thoughts, Nathaniel? Yeah, thanks.
If anyone wants to debate me, they can email me at debatemetrump@gmail.com, and then I'll record it with Craig on my Discord server, or you can find me on Pingburn and stuff. So yeah, thank you.
Cool, thanks.
All right. Put it up for Nathaniel Prophet. Thank you very much.
Sorry.
And I promise you guys, I'll get at least one of you on stage. Just quick 5 minutes. Who would like to come up and ask Destiny a question? Put your hand up if you're interested. Anyone? Everyone, hands up way high.
Can you
the higher,
imagine
the
nobody
better.
wanted to ask?
Yes,
Oh
you
my
in the
God,
black.
That would be so cinema.
Yes. Come on up. Let's give them a round of applause. I think you can make it up this way. Yeah. You can sneak around there. Watch the cable. I'll give you a hand. Step up. And a second. There we go. Yeah, of course.
Hi.
Can I get out my notes really quickly?
Nice and close to the microphone, please. Thank you.
Okay. My name is Arya. My question is, do you think the state of democracy is too far gone for young people like myself to even obtain a position of progressive change in the government?
When you say people like me, what is the implication? Or what do you mean? Like young people or women?
Yeah,
or
young people.
No, I don't think so.
The DG chat got emote nuked because of this debate. Which debate? The previous guy who was a dumbass? What do you mean?
So, I think that I mean we've had like a literal civil war here before. It's hard to predict sometimes the future. Like
No, this girl? Why? Why are you guys, dude? What is wrong with you people? Dude, can't you, dude? This is why women don't want to be in DGG, okay? Like, what do you want? What do you fucking want? Like, this is why women fucking hate DGG, okay? Okay, sorry. My bad.
the whole environment of our economy and our media space is so multivariate that there's a world where in 1 year Trump loses the midterms and Trump gets old and goes away and we kind of like go back to normal-ish after this current political season or whatever you call this. There's another world where Trump manages to hang on enough and runs again for president in 2028 and we have another civil war because he actually does it for real. It's hard to predict, but I mean I think that people should always be trying to push towards participating and making things better. I think Final Fantasy Tactics just re-released as like a remaster, and there's another game I'm playing right now. I enjoy playing video games a lot, but I'm out here doing this kind of stuff because I still think that there is an America that is like worth, kind of like advocating for, and I think there's enough people that want something better, even when it comes to,
I mean, this is a simple question, right? Would you rather die, would you rather die fighting, or would you rather die, like, I mean, this is a very, like, wishy-washy question, right? Like, this is a really wishy-washy question. Like, I am gonna, like, admit, right? I think this is more of a, I hope that I'm not black-pilled question, right? But at the end of the day, right, it's just better to be more hope-pilled than black-pilled. Like, I would arguably say that even during World War II, during the Holocaust, if you're like a Jew in hiding, it's just simply better to be hopeful rather than saying that, oh yeah, it's only a matter of time before a Nazi officer finds me and fucking sends me into the death camp, right? I mean, that's as fucking black-pilled as you can ever get, right? If you're just hiding out in Nazi Germany and you think that something was gonna fucking happen, right? But at the end of the day, right, I think it's good for a larger group of people to be more hope-pilled because the larger group of people are able to drive change. And one person can be a leader of that change, right? Like, where else would you get, like, Nelson Mandela, Gandhi, right? Nelson Mandela was, like, the sole person who was holding the whole movement together from turning to violence. So, yeah, like, one person can make a lot of change, especially if you have the like drive to do it, right? The passion to do it. Sometimes canvassing efforts that I have gone through, like it was only like 3 people, just three people, and I was one of them, right? 3 people in total, knocking door to door, right? And we covered the entire neighborhood, right? You're not just like useless as a person, right? There's work to be done. But yeah.
MAGA people. Hillary Clinton even said that the deplorables were just half of them, so the other half are worth fighting for. But no, I think that like a lot of stuff can change, and there's a lot of like wake up moments where people can be like, this is kind of cringe and not good, and we just kind of like move on, and hopefully, the people in the future learn a lesson from it. We kind of go from there. So yeah, I would.
Were you at the canvassing stuff or No, I canvassed before DGG.
Never, until we're like actually shutting the power off and shooting each other more than we are now. I guess.
built different, okay?
I wouldn't give up all hope.
We're
I would
not
also
the
say
same.
as like an add-on thing too that like there's a surprising.
You canvass because of streamer daddy. I canvass because I care, okay? We're not the same.
Amount of power available at local levels if you're willing to invest the amount of time into it, especially if you can bring along like 2 or 3 people. There's a surprising amount of power at local levels.
Yeah.
The national and even the state level, depending on where you live, can be harder, but yeah.
Do you think international would be even more difficult to get into, such as like diplomacy or something like that?
International, so what, like ambassador positions or something?
Diplomacy or ambassador, yes.
I don't even know what the pathway is to that ordinarily. I imagine that's all like State Department stuff, so it's going to be federal. So it's probably relatively niche. Like I feel like all those people speak like 4 languages and have like been working in offices like that for a long time, but I don't know the pathway there. I bet that like if you email their offices and ask for recommendations, they can give you like jobs or places to work or secretary jobs to like be staffers in certain areas or something, yeah?
Yeah. Do you have a personal bias? Not a personal bias, but like a personal opinion on how the United States is going? Is it more optimistic or pessimistic?
I'll say it's on a razor's edge right now. We'll say 50-50.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm being generous, just because Travis is smiling so much over there. I'll say 50-50.
All right. Well.
All right, everyone, let's give her a round of applause. Thank you so much for coming up. Thank you. You can come this way. Yeah, I don't want you to trip. Okay, that concludes the debates for tonight. Well, let's first give Stephen a big round of applause. Rock and roll, man. Awesome. Now we are going to do a poster signing just at the merch table. If you guys could form a line for anyone that wants a free signed poster and to get a picture with Steven, you can form the line, make it go this way, and do it with it or something. Everyone on YouTube, everyone else listening, we are coming to LA next, October 4th in LA this Saturday. Make sure you join us if you can get there. We'll be at San Francisco the next day. And the next day after that, we'll be in Portland. And then after that, on the 7th, we're going to be in Seattle doing the very same thing. Around 28 debaters have signed up to debate on this tour, so there's going to be a lot of content coming your guys' way. Make sure you head over and subscribe to the Pangburn YouTube channel. It just takes a second, and you're going to be able to see some awesome debates and content over on our channel. I highly suggest, if you haven't watched it yet, watch our new vaccine debate, which I am calling the greatest vaccine debate of all time. You might disagree with me, but you have to watch it to see if you disagree with me or not. But that features Professor Dave Explains, Dave Farina, Dr. Dan Wilson, Debunk the Funk, versus anti-vaxxers Steve Kirsch and Dr. Pierre Corey. And that's a very fiery debate on our channel. And also, I highly suggest checking out our most recent God debate between Alex O'Connor and Dinesh D'Souza. I highly recommend Alex O'Connor's channel, by the way. Yeah, that's it for tonight. We're going to shut the stream down and get to the poster signing. Thank you, everyone, for joining us.
Okay, cool. Oh, what is wrong with people? Sorry. My God, can you just like stop being fucking weird for just a second? Like if you go outside, like if you, especially if you go downtown, you realize there's like hot women everywhere, right? Like, are you gonna drive your mind insane every like 5 steps you take? Like every 5 steps you take, you're gonna go insane because you're gonna see another hot woman? You realize like every 5 steps there's an attractive fucking beefy milfy woman, right? Like that just tells me that like people just don't like go outside in any kind of capacity, because once you get used to seeing them, you're not going to comment on them, right? If that makes sense. Anyway, so cringe. Not good. Wait, did Wig TV have that debate yet? Dude, in my server, I ban gooners so fucking, like, I try to keep as many gooners out of my server as much as I could. Or gooner talk. Like, if you're a gooner, you can be a gooner, just don't do gooner talk in my fucking server. Yeah, I'm very, very, like, I'm very, very touchy on that. Wick debate got canceled? That fucking sucks. Wick debate got canceled due to sickness. Disappointing. Fuck. Oh no, Connor, what are you doing?
I only need to see some of it to make my a merit of my criticism. The criticism
tell him,
based on what
sister.
I've seen so far.
Okay.
Oh, why is Kinetic Kel there, dude? Fuck me.
I've only seen a handful, but the shit I have seen is you being a little bitch ass and not being able to like stand on business about anything that you claim to have intrinsic values about.
Oh,
So it just seems a little bit
So
embarrassing to
do
me.
I? Hold on.
Cooking?
One thing.
This is why you don't fuck with gingers, by the way.
Whoa. Yeah, fucking Irish, right? So, anyways,
That's there, y'all.
So, sorry, you're saying. So, can you specify what I've done?
Yeah, I will clarify. So I saw an interview where I was like excited because Destiny's little co-host was going to be pressing him about the doxing and him advocating for doxing against other people, right?
Oh,
and then you asked him, and he was like, "Well, they're around people who talk shit about my personal
Okay.
life, so they deserve doxing."
Based. Okay, all right, we're gonna watch this, I guess. Oh, okay. All right. Wait, who is this?
We discussed searching female, enemy prisoners of war. I think that there are jobs outside the wire that females need to do, and as a result, should be able to do within the military.
Yeah, I don't care about women in the military debate. Where's Kinetic Cal?
Connor, first of all, you served, correct? back in the 90s. You had stress cards.
For me, if you have something that works and the cure has to be better than the disease. You're not going to find 200,000 men the next day. And as a matter of fact, I think we're actually going to have more difficulty recruiting them. And so
So I'm gonna say this again. Sarah the Raging Tomato is a Crucible member, who is a content creator who specifically hosts the show The Gauntlet, her own custom show. That is she's basically an Andrew Wilson orbiter. Okay, that's all you need to know. It's a more right wing panel. It's like the right wing version of Wick TV. Okay.
while you don't let the imperfect, or you don't let the perfect be the enemy of great, and you don't let great be the enemy of good. And so that's where, when we're constantly pushing for ideal, I don't know what ideal you're pushing towards.
Well, I thought that was even that point that you were making was almost a fallacy of thinking, and saying that you have to drop them in one day. That's something that could be easily phased out over the course of a decade.
Eliminating 200,000 women. What
Yeah.
are you hoping to achieve?
More efficiency. That's why even Trump made a Department of Government Efficiency, because it's already very inefficient as it is. And you agreed with me that it would be more efficient.
But if something, okay.
How's it now? How's it now?
But this is where I would argue, if something isn't broken, you don't fix it. And what I would say by that is Doge, if you remember, their original propaganda was that they were going to cut $2 trillion from the federal budget. They recommended $150 billion to Congress. Congress did a $10 billion rescissions package. That rescissions package, which is in the name of government efficiency.
It's still low? How's it still low? What? Huh? Test. Do you have a volume booster on? Compared to the vid, your mic is low. No, there is no volume booster on. What the hell?
Check your audio input on OBS because Discord was previously detecting you had a. I don't know if you can hear me or not. Discord was previously detecting that you had a input. If you're talking now, I can't hear what you're saying. Fuck. Here to. Oh, am I just here to entertain the stream? Motherfuck. Oh god. Oh no, I didn't saw the stream. I hate myself. Okay. We have enough conservative sloppa? No. You'll get more conservative slop. That's why I'm here. Okay, clearly that you're getting some sort of desktop input because it's appearing on your stream. That's interesting. Nope. I accidentally muted my mic. That's not good. Okay. How do I get this to work? Okay, so I switched the input so it's no longer fuck. It's no longer doing the Oh, no. Okay. This shitty ass amp thing too. It's a nightmare. Oh god. Look, it's fine. People, we're fine. I'm here to entertain you. How do I fix my mic?